Hi student, how are you? I hope you're doing good and welcome to chapter 12 where I'm going to share you about writing persuasive message. Before we go on, to give some details about several steps of persuasive message, I would like to start with the definition. Persuasion is an attempt to change someone's attitude, beliefs, and action. It means that you can try asking to someone to change their mind, change their attitude, that starting from don't want to buy a product into buying a product, or having a negative attitude towards your product into having a positive attitude towards your product. It requires some effort. The persuasive message include order and requests, proposal and recommendation, sales and fundraising, letters, job application letters when you would like to apply for a job, and any effort that require changing people's behavior, such as collection letters, criticisms, and performance appraisal when you are a manager who would like to assess the performance of your employee. There are three-step writing process for a persuasive message. It is almost similar with the business message and the negative message, also routine message that we have known before. The first step is planning a persuasive message. Includes analyzing the situation, and when you analyze the situation, it is almost similar with understanding who is your consumer. You can try to explore their demographic, psychographic, and motivation. By understanding your audience, understanding your consumer, then you will understand their motives, you will understand their perception, you will try to understand how the way they think, and your message will be suits and fit with their need. The second one is gathering information. Understand what is the purpose of your message and why you have to stand it. And then if you understand already the preference of your consumer, then you can try to gather some points that will be useful for you in order to build a paragraph or a narrative for your message. Then the third one is selecting the right medium. We have learned a lot of things about this, and every different media has their own disadvantage and advantages, such as when you're using oral media, it cannot be used for a larger participants, but you can use it better when you would like to know the reaction or the emotion of your audience. So be wise on choosing the right medium, whether you would like to use oral media or you want to use electronic media, visual media, or written media. And the last one, organizing your information. After you compile all the information and you understand what is the point that is important for your audience, you understand which medium that's going to be used, it's time for you to organize the information. Here I would like to talk in detail about the motivation. According to table 10.1 of Business Communication book, there are several human needs that will influence motivation. So human will have that needs, that will finally build or drive their motivation to do something. The first one is basic psychological, physiological requirement, the needs of food, water, sleep, oxygen, and other essentials. For example, if you have a problem on insomnia, then the advertising or commercial who would like to offer a sleeping pills will help you a lot, because the second one, safety and security, the needs for protection from bodily harm, to know that loved ones are safe, and for financial security. And for those who having the needs of safety and security, then insurance is the best, because it covers their loved one to be safe, protection for their future, education, and also health. The third one, affiliation and belonging, the needs for companionship, acceptance, love, and popularity, etc. And I think this is related a lot for some teenagers, that always want to be a part of a social group or community. I think this is switch on them. And then power and control, the needs to feel in control over a situation and exert authority over others. And I think there's some advertisement according to this example that appealing more on the power and control, such as take control of your life, your finance, your future, your career. I think this is kind of tagline will be suited for those who having a need of power and control. And achievement, this is for those who feel a sense of accomplishment is important for them and would like to have admired by others for their accomplishment. So they are chasing achievement and they try to achieve the success. And I think including when they want to showing some luxury product to the other consumer is also appeals, yeah, with their needs. Adventure and distraction for those who would like to avoid a daily routine, would like to have a spontaneous activity. Then this is those who loves to see a horror movie and then bungee jumping. And there are some people who have a need for knowledge, exploration, and understanding. They're really always seeking for learning, seeking for knowledge, and they really loves to buy a book. And then all the motivation will be about get more information, get more insight. And aesthetic appreciation is desire to experience beauty, order, and symmetry. I think for this kind of person, they prefer to have a jewelry, for example. And self-actualization is for those who wants to be all that they can be. And they would like to explore their other talents. And the last one is helping others. They need to believe that one is making difference in the life of other people. And this kind of different needs will help us to understand our consumer or our audience better. And it helps us also to arrange a proper and appealing message for our persuasive messages. The second step is writing a persuasive message. Before we go on, to provide the content, we can have a welcome reception. How to begin? Of course, we have to prepare our narrative or our text with a positive and polite language, of course, and then understand the culture difference. We have to understand their habits, and then being sensitive to the organizational culture. So we have to understand the type and then the culture of the organization, whether they love to have a straightforward information or they want to have an order and a formative information to be provided. And the fourth one, taking steps to establish your credibility. How to improve your credibility by using persuasive message. Below are this several techniques that can be used. The first one is simple language. When you talk with a language that is really complicated and using high-level terms, there are some people who not understand. Instead of admiring your speaking, they might feel like you're snobbing or maybe you're trying to exaggerating things. So it's better for you in order to gain trust, because credibility is in order for the other people gain trust. You can gain trust from the other people. Then it's better for you to using a simple language that can be understandable by two different people. And supporting your message with fact. I think you can talk according to proof and according to data. So it's more logical, it will be acceptable. And the third one, identifying your sources. You can also mention where you got the information from, whether it came from a mass media, whether it came from research, whether it came from government documents. It will be more acceptable and will be more reliable if the data came from a really clear sources. And the fourth one is establishing common ground. I have known several times about common ground. I think it's talking about setting a similar perspective or mind with your audience. You can use the sentence such as, I understand it's really hard for us to accept a bad news. Or maybe we can say that it's really hard for our parents to really taking care and having a good relationship with our children. So we gain some understanding, similar understanding and perspective toward a specific topic. And being objectives, yeah, we're not focused on people, but focus on the data and on the problem. Displaying your good intention, yeah. And the last one is avoiding do the hard sell, especially when you want to use persuasive message, because people usually not like any person who offer them straightforward or bluntly they're selling something. And then the last one, the step 3, is completing the persuasive message. The step will be, the detail will be similar with the other completing persuasive message, such as do the proofreading and then revising and organizing and producing, including distributing. This slide will inform you the difference between hard sell and soft sell. Below hard sell, there is one commercial of a gaming computer, let's say, yeah, that it's really obvious and it's really straightforward, it's really direct. They would like to sell this gaming computer, personal computer, because they state that the detailed specification and then including the price. So it's really obvious, including where you can get their contact, even though that this is not a real commercial, but it's one example of the hard sell commercial. Hard sell commercial usually direct, aggressive, and high pressure. They also create a sense of urgency. That's why they usually mention their number. So anytime you need, you can just call it. And usually they also using irrational appeals on their selling method. Meanwhile, the soft sell, I got one Dove commercial, yeah, using a female with a lot of what can I say, spot in her skin that is really normal and common for European or Caucasian people. And they give some option whether she's flawed or flawless, yeah, because Dove always campaign that the beauty is really varies and it's not an ideal picture of a slim woman with a very smooth and clear or light skin. So everyone is beautiful with their own identity and their own nature. And then this is not really obvious that Dove selling something, so they not show any product there, they just show the woman and the message. And then the characteristic of soft sell usually is indirect. They are gentle and low pressure. They are not forcing people to buy the product. There is no urge for potential consumer, and then usually it's more on the long-term relationship that they want to build. And mostly they're using emotional appeal, so storytelling including on it, yeah, because they just want to let people know about their product and find it themselves, or this is for those who already know about the product. Okay, we will talk this and we will discuss more. Okay, in this part we will discuss more about how to develop the method and the strategies for persuasive business messages. This is one other example of applying AIDA. Yeah? So AIDA here, according to the picture commercial of Galaxy Z Fold, is of course the attention is came from the price, yeah, special offer worth up to 5 million, blah blah blah, and so on. And then of course the design of the nature of Galaxy Z Fold, because it's really attractive, yeah, it's really edgy and it's really different compared to the other competitors. Yeah. And then that is for attraction, that is for the attention. And then the second one is interest, yeah. They're not really cover the interest more, but the desire, it came from this information too, because desire showing some offering that there will be 60% buyback program. But I think for the interest will be on this part. I think in this part, telling something about the detail or specification of the product that not that clear for me. And then the action, if you cannot find any information about where they can get that information to get more further information, such as informing about the website, is okay, because sometimes they just put the, what can I say, the brand name. Yeah, for some people or some common and recognized brand, yeah, they don't have to really put information where the customer can find them. They just put the brand, yeah, and then the consumer can do the action because they know that, oh, it belongs to Samsung. Then I can just visit the official social media or the official website of Samsung. So that is how we try to analyze, yeah, the AIDA model on the commercial. Okay, when we would like to send a persuasive message, we can sometimes also choose, yeah, whether you're going to use emotional appeals or logical appeals for our audience or for our consumer. Yeah. How to find the optimum balance, we can consider this 4 factors. The first one, the action you hope to motivate. So if we understand the motivation of our consumer is more on the emotional or logical, it will help us a lot to finally attract them. And then it will also give some information about the reader's expectation, because some readers, they more have interest on the emotional appeal, and there are some, usually men, yeah, they attract by the logical appeals. And the degree of resistance you need to overcome, yeah. For example, if you can explain them according to logical, usually using fact, data, and proof, yeah, it will be easier to finally overcome the resistance, because according to logic and rational. How far you feel empowered to go in order to sell your point of view. Yeah, it will be also helped by understanding there are 2 types of appeals. Emotional appeals will cause on the audience feeling and sympathy rather than a fact, figure, and rational arguments. So after this, there's a 1 slide give a really clear explanation about how when we use emotional appeals and when we use logical appeals. For logical appeals, usually calls on the reasoning and evidence, and there are 3 types of logical appeals. The first one is analogy, yeah. The second one is deductive, and the third one is inductive. Analogy is using a specific evidence to specific evidence using analogy. By using analogy, we're providing actionable understanding, so the audience will use that on their logic, yeah, and try to understand that and how we finally relate it with the busy situation that we try to explain to them now. The example for analogy is a leaking boat is a sinking boat. So this is talking about the business situation, about losing money, yeah? And then when we lose some money and we not try to properly plug any plugs, yeah, that make it leaks, that we'll never learn from it, and of course we will fail again, or the boat will be leak again. So it means that we have to learn. If we found one problem in our business, we have to make sure what is the problem and try to close that problem or solve the problem, so we will not face any leak anymore and we can go on with our business. So that is example for analogy. And then deductive, when we would like to prepare some message, start from generalization of the idea to a specific conclusion. Just for example, we can talk about, when we talk about the global warming, yeah, as a conclusion, then we can discuss first about people using plastic, yeah, and people keep creating what can I say, footprint, carbon footprint, or eating beef, yeah. So it will finally, as a conclusion, that's for generalization, and at a conclusion it will create global warming. And then for inductive, when we start with something that is really specific, we can start with understanding what is global warming, and then what finally the result of the global warming, and finally we can try to have a general conclusion. So this is start with a specific and we end with a general conclusion. Okay, this slide will give you detailed example when we would like to use emotional appeals and logical appeals when we have a specific purpose to persuade management, if we are employee, to fund an on-site daycare center. Yeah. When using emotional appeals, then this is how we're going to arrange the narratives and the paragraph in order to send the proposal. The emotional appeals, the proposal will entitle the proposal to improve employee satisfaction and work-life balance. Yeah. And then explaining it according to the emotional appeals. Yeah. Being separated during the day is stressful for both parents and children. Many parents are now working more hours and second job to make ends meet, so the situation is getting worse. The extra travel time every morning and evening to put children in daycare adds to the stress and then cost of coming to work. When parents need to leave work to pick up sick children from daycare to stay home with them, this often creates an unfair burden on the employees to pick up the slack. Knowing that the company cares about them and their children would boost employee morale, therefore the company should provide on-site daycare facility with separate infirmity where sick children could stay during the day. Yeah. So this is according to the emotional appeals. And this is when you using the logical appeals, the proposal title to boost productivity and reduce absenteeism. Yeah. And this is more logic, yeah, for a company. Yeah. This is a logical approach. Analysis of employee time records showed that employee with children under age 10 takes on scheduled days of 3 times more than an employee without young children. Daycare issues are cited as the #1 reason for 3 unscheduled days off. In the 98 exit interviews conducted last year, 24 departing employees mentioned the need to balance family and work commitment as a primary reason for leaving. In the last 6 months, HR has logged 40 complaints from employees who said that they have an extra work when colleagues leave the office to pick up sick children from daycare. Research showing that on-site daycare can improve productivity as much as 20%, blah, 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 and so on. So this is more on using data, fact, and proof. Yeah, they said that according to research and according to the data, yeah, that 98 exit interview we conducted last year. So this is they're using more logical and rational using data and fact. So this is some example, yeah, for emotional and logical appeals. Okay, in this part, what if the persuasive message is the purpose in order to use it for marketing and sales messages? Yeah, of course, the first one, when we're talking about marketing, the consumer is the most important. So understanding them is the first priority. So assessing audience needs is #1. And after that, don't forget to also analyze your competitors. Yeah, your competitors' product offering, and then the competitor's price, product specification, what is their UPS, yeah, unique selling point, yeah. And then I think by understanding that, you can try to make your own positioning and you can try to make your own difference. So consumer will have a really, they'll be able to distinguish between your product and the competitor's product. Yeah. And then the third one, determining key selling point and benefits. So you have to understand what is your unique selling point, yeah, once again, and showing the customer about the product benefits. And how to anticipate purchase objection should be prepared at the beginning. Yeah, you have to provide some logical, rational appeals and approach to answer some objection or to how to prepare yourself, yeah, to face objection. And of course, yeah, you can apply AIDA models or other similar models. I'm not really sure is there any others because I'm only learned AIDA. But there's a lot of strategy outside there. Yeah, I think you can use a lot of strategies of marketing in order to finally do some sales or creating some marketing message. Okay, in AIDA and other similar models, how to get attention. Yeah, this is one of the first part of the model, getting attention, how to have a specific technique. The first one, you can try to show the product features and benefits, and then start with the genuine news, yeah, and try to relate it with your product, and point of common ground with your audience, personal appeals to readers' emotional values, promise of insider information, and the promise of saving, that saying that your product is cheaper, is more economical, and a sample, giving some sample or demonstration the product in front of the customer, and the last one is solution to a problem. So when you would like to arrange the content, yeah, for the persuasive message, you can start with this, yeah, because the attention is to be in the first, yeah, to grab the customer selection attention. Sorry, selective attention. And then this is when you would like to prepare social media, and then how you prepare a persuasive message through a social media. And here are some guidelines. Yeah, the first one, social media is then usually focus on the facilitating of community building, because those who become the followers for your official social media will be those who want to know more about your brand, or they already know and they become a loyal customer. So make sure that you try to facilitate all the activities there, whether they want to do some interaction, whether they want to just share some comments, joining some quiz from your stories. So you have to be responsive also, yeah, on the conversation, on the community, and identify and support your champion, those who work on it, yeah, to work on social media. And don't rely on the news media to distribute your message, yeah, because sometimes mass media is only talking something that is in their point of view is good, yeah, but I think you have to build your own content, yeah, that to show the good image of your brand, yeah, as long as it's truthful. And the last one is using AIDA model at the right time and in the right place. Yeah, you can also apply all these guidelines when you like to prepare social media for your brand. And when you would like to do some marketing and sales communication, we have to make sure that we maintain the high standard of ethics and legal compliance and ethic. Yeah. And what we have to pay attention, the first one, the marketing and sales messages should be truthful and non-deceptive. It means that we are not over-claiming, we are not over-informed that our product is having something else that actually that our product doesn't have it. So I think it's really good that we are honest, yeah, to our audience, and you must back up your claim, yeah, with evidence. So you can do the research, you can use the data, you can do the test, and using the testimonial, the real testimonial of the real consumer. And then marketing and sales message are considered binding contract in many states. So it means that different states or different province, different city, different countries, they have a different regulation, and we have to make sure that we comply, yeah, with the local legal to make sure that we are not broke any regulation. In most cases, you can also use person's name. You can't use a person name, photograph, or any identity without permission. This is plagiarism, and this is can be break the regulation or the law. Yeah, so you have to make sure you have to ask for a person's picture or ask permission, yeah, to use it, and communicate that, and really pay, yeah, if you want to use that. Okay, I think that's all for the explanation about the persuasive message. I think you can find it useful and beneficial for your understanding about this topic. If you have any questions, just let me know, and you can continue also after this to work on your individual assignment. And see you again for the next meeting.